Live, local, late-breaking. This is WDSU News at 5.
Thousands of peaceful protesters gathered in Atlanta, Georgia, demanding justice for the recent killings of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling at the hands of police. Good evening, I'm Madison Heil.
And I'm Travis Cummings. A standoff took place outside the governor's mansion, which led to a planned meeting between activists and city leaders.
The meeting is scheduled to take place on Monday. A Black Lives Matter movement shut down traffic on the Magnificent Mile Monday night in Chicago. No official arrests have been reported as of 8 p.m., but Twitter accounts have stated Chicago police took down an older woman on State Street where a sit-in was planned.
And in New York, police arrested 74 people during a Black Lives Matter movement on Friday. 2 journalists were also detained during the protest, and demonstrators began taking custody at roughly 10 p.m. The journalists Carlette Clear and Justin Carter were released a short time later.
Recently in Philadelphia, there was another Black Lives movement. The protest, which began around 5 p.m., marched almost 6 miles starting from North Broad Street. The protest died down around 10:15 p.m. Police followed the protest, blocking traffic on roadways to enable the march to continue on its desired path. Reporter Mara Scott has more.
Here at the NOPD headquarters, where a peaceful protest is supposed to take place starting at 4 p.m. The organizer says he wanted a place where the community can come together and support each other after the tragedies over the last 3 days. He says this isn't a time for violence, but a time to celebrate life.
I mean, it's that there's an unbelievable amount of violence happening. I mean, this whole weekend is an example of extreme example of not only something that's been happening, but something that, I mean, sorry, I'm a little overwhelmed.
Rodriguez wanted the protest to begin with the potluck in order to bring community members together to eat and socialize. Then afterwards, he would mimic the sound of the gun, and they would lie on the ground motionless to show respect to those who have lost their lives to police brutality.
We need to work with the fear, you know, and the racism, and those two things combined are causing people to die constantly for no reason.
Reporting from NOPD headquarters, I'm Mara A. Scott, WDSU News.
These protests have sparked from recent police shootings around the nation, including the deadly shooting of Philando Castile in Minnesota.
Castile was pulled over for a broken tail light when he was shot and killed by a police officer. Castile's girlfriend caught the aftermath of the shooting on camera in a Facebook Live video shortly after Castile's mother spoke out about her son.
He lived by the law, but he died by the law. And it's got to be a time when we all come together as a nation of people and demand that this stops.
Castile was laid to rest on July 14th.
A recent shooting that led to the killing of 5 police officers and 7 injured at a Black Lives Matter protest broke out in Dallas, Texas. According to the mayor and police chief of Dallas, the perpetrator was a former Army reservist who wrote manifestos on how to shoot and move. Micah Xavier Johnson was the suspected gunman and died in the overnight standoff with the police. Police say Johnson had no criminal history and acted alone. The mayor said Johnson was given the option to give himself up peacefully without being harmed, but he chose not to. WDSU will continue to follow this story.
For the latest updates, download our WDSU mobile app.
Today, the first ever Cuba Business Summit took place at Gallier Hall. Hosted by the Louisiana Alliance for Cuba, the event aimed to promote trade and business ventures with Cuba. People gathered for a series of workshops led by experts offering insight into Cuba's economy and culture.
So my hope is that the businesses and the people of Louisiana really start to innovate and take advantage of all the opportunities there are for business in Cuba, and so that there's follow-on events for this, so that we have festivals growing out of this, so that we have future business engagements, so that there's increased exports to Cuba and increased investment in Cuba.
The summit comes as a result of recent efforts to restore ties with Cuba.
Neighbors in an uptown neighborhood woke up to nothing but scraps on their lawns. The police station received calls between 1 and 2 this morning from residents saying their garbage was on fire. The series of fires took place on blocks between LaSalle and Ferret and along Peniston Street. There is video surveillance of 4 people torching at least 1 trash can and 1 person who appears to be breaking into a truck. Neighbors are worried about who's responsible and what it means for their summer.
School is out, and already they are affecting the neighborhoods by burning up garbage cans. We're going to have floating burnt garbage sitting around until the city is able to get some more newer cans out here to pick this up.
No suspects have been identified in this crime. If you have any information, call NOPD or Crime Stoppers. Now, if you're wanting to go outdoors, there are a few things you may want to consider.
WDSU reporter Emily Romano has more on how to deal with the summer heat.
The National Weather Service in New Orleans has issued a heat advisory that will be in effect until Friday afternoon. Experts say this is the hottest May on record. Doctors recommend that people sitting and playing out in the sun should take precaution by always wearing sunscreen.
First thing we always want you to remember is that you have to wear sunscreen. Okay, we want to protect your skin because your skin is very vulnerable in very hot, very sunny days. So we want you to protect your skin. We also want you to protect your eyes because people don't think, oh, that my eyes are very important when it comes to sun.
They say to wear appropriate sunglasses because the heat can hurt your vision over time. Local doctor says to make sure you're reapplying your sunscreen and to use a 50 SPF while out in the sun. Reporting from City Park, I'm Emily Romano, WDSU News.
Well, Spencer, you know, it's been too hot, just a little bit too hot for me. So tell us what's going on.
Well, currently right now, if we go to the radar, I'm going to show some pop-up storms that are occurring on the North Shore right now. The ones that are on the North Shore are pretty much dissipated right now. Now, we are seeing some pop-up showers and a meet on the South Shore. We're pretty much steady right now. We've seen some pop-up showers before, but not right now. Now, if we go to the heat, it's pretty regular right now, a little lower than usual right now. 77 in Hammond, Slidell were 80, Galliano 82, and then in New Orleans were 83. Now if we go to heat indices, it really feels like 93 in New Orleans, and Hammond feels like 78, Galliano feels a little hotter at 89. And then now if we go to the forecast, at 9 o'clock, going into the evening, mostly clear. It's going to be really cloudy though. Now if we go to 1 a.m., it's still going to be cloudy. You can see some pop-up showers on the coast right here. Now if we go into the early commute, there's going to be a few pop-up showers and storms that are going to be in the New Orleans area, but on the coast there's going to be some heavier rainfall. Now if we go to noon o'clock on Monday, there's going to be some showers around New Orleans, not so much in New Orleans metro area. Here's some few showers, some heavy storms on the coast near Slidell. Now if we go to the daily planner at 9 o'clock, it's going to be mostly cloudy and muggy, around 85 degrees. At 1 a.m. it's going to be partly cloudy and mild, 80 degrees. And at 7 a.m. you're going to see some showers and storms, it's going to be 78 degrees. Now if we go to the 7-day forecast, in the early part of next week, we're going to see a high chance of storms, but as we move in towards the later of the week, storms are going to dissipate, and we're moving to the weekend, it's going to be around 30%. Temperatures are going to remain in the low 90s, so it's going to be hot and humid. Now, when I come back, show you the 7-day forecast, back to you.
Now taking a look at what's trending, Rihanna gained some major fan points this week.
That's right, Travis. The Grammy winner delivered 20 boxes of pizza and towels to loyal fans lined up for her show in Manchester. She even signed the boxes, thanking them for their dedication. The surprise was much appreciated as fans took to social media to thank the singer. And the University of Texas at Austin will give 30 lucky students the opportunity to take class from a real-life movie star.
Matthew McConaughey will return to his alma mater to co-teach an advanced film class this fall. The Oscar-winner will be joined by Hunger Games director Gary Ross to give students an in-depth look at his latest movie, Free State of Jones. Beer for breakfast? That's what Starbucks is aiming for with its latest brew.
Nitro Coffee is a cold coffee on tap infused with tiny nitrogen bubbles, giving it a foamy texture like beer. The cold brew is still heavily caffeinated to get you going in the morning and can be served in a new 10-ounce cup. Nitro Coffee will be out in 500 stores by the end of the summer.
I'm Kyra, Azore, reporting from the newsroom. Here's what's happening across headlines across America. The New Jersey mall that reportedly asked the kiosk to stop selling anti-police brutality shirts because some found them offensive has since reversed their decision. The shirts read, "This has to stop," and include stick figures who appear to be police officers beating a third figure. Kiosk operators say the shirts were created during an outcry against police brutality following the recent police-involved shootings across the nation. Operators also say that anyone who finds the shirt offensive is a part of the problem. A practical joke ended with the Alabama teen being rescued by firefighters. The team says that she found a Barney costume in her home and was going to use it to scare friends, but scared herself when the dinosaur's head just wouldn't come off. Family and friends stepped in, calling 911 in the end. The teen suffered minor bruising to her arms and egos, but is expected to be just fine. A New Orleans bartender is hoping to be named the king of the daiquiri. Mixologist and bar owner Nick Dietrich is competing against 9 other bartenders across the globe tonight in Cuba. Dietrich is the owner of Cane and Table. The contest is at El Florida, a historic bar and birthplace of the daiquiri. The winner will be announced later tonight. If you're going out and you plan on ordering the fish, you may want to think twice. Nearly 22,000 pounds of catfish is being recalled. The recall is issued after USDA said the fish may contain a residue from a chemical not approved by the U.S. The product recall affects businesses in several states, including Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Florida, Oklahoma, and Texas. No illnesses have been recorded in connection to the news. Have been reported in connection to the recall. Now that's all for national news. Travis, Madison, back to you.
Thank you so much, Kyra. Coming up next, the Saints are headed to training camp and the Pelicans are preparing for this year's draft.
Sports anchor Jack Collada has more after the break.
Good evening, I'm Jack Collada. The Saints are heading to Greenbrier. In 3 days, the team will depart on Wednesday for the official 2016 training camp presented by Verizon. Over a span of 3 weeks, Sean Payton's squad will tackle 22 practices starting at the Greenbrier in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, and ending, of course, at the Metairie practice facility on Airline Drive for all you die-hard members of the Houdat Nation. Players will report to Greenbrier on Wednesday for physicals and strength and conditioning meetings. The next day, they will begin on-field workouts without pads, and then on Saturday, July 30th, they will pad up and suit up in their black and gold for practice gear for a full-on padded practice from 9:30 until 12:30 p.m. And the Pelicans finished the Summer League in Las Vegas with only 1 win, but their roster is set and ready for Game 1 in late October. To review the Summer League and to look forward to the regular season, let's send it over to Taylor Stewart to see what Dell Demps had to say immediately after the NBA draft.
Well, Pelicans general manager Dell Demps has finally broken his silence with the media since about March of this year. Demps spoke of the disappointing season the Pelicans previously had this year. And with the draft coming on Thursday, he spoke of how the team really needs to rebuild to where it was just 2 years ago.
Yeah, last year, not having Quincy really set us back. And in the past, Tyreek has actually played well there. And, going into last year, we thought, we were going to have both of those guys. And then when we didn't, it did set us back. But going into the summer, obviously that's the position that we have to address.
Still working closely with Pelicans hierarchy, Demps looks forward to the draft on Thursday and looks forward to the future with the Pelicans. I'm Taylor Stewart here in Metairie with WDSU News.
Taylor, thank you, and thanks, Jack. Looks like we're going to have a good season.
Absolutely. We appreciate what Taylor had to say, and finally got to hear from Dell Demps about the draft and everything moving forward with the Pelicans. So it should be good moving forward.
And before we go, Spencer, how's the rest of the evening looking?
For the rest of the evening, we're going to be humid, partly cloudy, but as we move into the week, it's going to be pretty rainy on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. But if we go into the later part of the week, it'll be 40% chance, and as we go to the weekend, it's going to be 30% chance, so it's going to be getting hotter because less rain.
All right, sounds good. And on behalf of all the interns here at WDSU, thanks for watching.
Have a good night.